Cool. So we're doing a chart rectification November 18th at 12:10 p.m. We're going to be using information from Chris Brennan, who's a Hellenistic astrologer. He's been doing it for years. And this is a technique from him that I'm going to be using to help you find your birth time for tropical astrology. Tropical astrology is more like the easiest way I could say is like it's the American version of astrology.
Okay.
And astrology is a way for us to track ourselves as humans, is what I've learned in my studies. And the reason why astrology works is because it tracks humans, and every human has these characteristics, skills, attributes, weaknesses, all these things that show up in their chart because someone else was born either on the same day, same location, or same time. So what we're doing is we're looking at, oh, okay, well, if I'm born in January, or excuse me, if I'm born in June, that's going to help me understand better, not only what other people who have my exact same birthday do, but then also what are they skilled at? What are they weak at? And how can I be my best self through my chart? So that's really how I kind of use astrology, is like really practically. So we're going to go through your houses and the hours today. And then I'm going to be able to really get down to a 24-hour period where you have your time. Rectification. So what we really need, like I said before, is the information you gave me, the time, the location, or excuse me, the day, the location, and then we're going to use whole sign houses. Whole sign houses, it just looks like this for you. It's an equal chart. It's really easy to read this way because all of the every single zodiac sign is a constellation, and they all have different sizes. So the reason they have different sizes because they just are different sizes. We sometimes measure them with other systems, but the one that we'll be using today is called whole sign, just because it's going to help us find out your ascendant, which is your rising sign. Once we find out your rising sign, we'll understand your strategy to life. That's why the rising sign, that's why the birth time is so important, is because it tells you your personality, it tells you your body type, it tells you your strategy to life. So like how you approach things, and when things happen, how you manage them, how you deal with them, how you look at them, right? So we're really gonna look at every single version of your chart today. And then what I'm gonna be able to do is I'm gonna get it within 6 hours, and then I'm gonna get it within a few other locked positions. And the goal here is to just get you into a time frame, because every 2 hours, the rising sign changes. So do you know if you were born sometime in the morning or sometime in the night?
Oh, well, my parents told me it was in the afternoon. Just exactly what they told me. They said that it was around 5 o'clock-ish. They don't know exactly when, but it was around the time after 5 o'clock.
Okay. So we'll start with 5:15 p.m. based on that information.
Okay.
I'm using the program called Luna. Luna is it's a web-based calculator. The calculator, just all this stuff you see, it's a lot of shit, just ignore it. We're really just looking at this line here today.
Okay.
I definitely, I'm sure you've seen some of my content at some point. I do not talk about even half of what I actually know. So that's why I'm going to just ask you to ignore all of this. We're just going to focus on this. I will say every single thing in your chart is important. There's nothing that's good or bad. It really comes down to understanding what it means for you. And that's the real strength in astrology. Once you know how to use it for yourself, boom, no one can tell you who you are. No one can tell you how to do things. No one can, give you all of these ideas that don't align with your higher purpose, right? So that's really the benefit of having your rising sign. So when we start here today at 5:15 p.m. in the afternoon, we get a Scorpio rising from the beginning. When we go down the list, I'm going to go from 5 until about maybe 6 or 7, and then we'll see how much the chart changes. If we don't get too much of a change, then we'll take the next step. And then you can tell me which aligns with you better, because that's ultimately what it's going to be, okay? So Scorpio rising, Scorpio ascendant, because it's a water sign, it talks about your strategy to life is very intuitive and creative. When I say creative, I really mean like the focus is on coming up with ideas in a way that other people may not think about. It's not that you have to come up with anything even at all. It's sometimes just how you understand things can be very intuitive or creative. So when someone says something, everyone else in the room may not understand it, but you will. You'll know by the person's body language, by their tone in their voice, what they're saying, not always just the words. So if you're a Scorpio rising, this would be something that is in alignment with you. When you have it at 5 degrees, this adds in an element of you are someone who's able to take negative situations and turn them positive, because 5 degrees in astrology means Leo degree, because it has to do with the 5th house here. Each of these houses is another part of, so I do want you to pay attention to the houses. Each house in astrology has to do with the human perspective. So the reason why there's 12 is because people from way before we were even thought of had this idea that there are 12 ways that a human could really adjust their life. And the rising sign deals with your ego, your personality, and your strategy. And I would write these things down. So the first house has to do with your ego, strategy, and personality. I'd write that down for first house. I think your video's frozen.
It is. I can hear you fine.
Oh, okay, perfect. And then what I'd write down for second house, because this is going to be important too, just long term. Second house has to do with your money, your resources, your finances, the way you work. That house is ruled by Taurus. The third house has to do with the way you communicate with other people, has to do with your siblings, if you have any, your neighborhood, and just how you connect with the people in your city. And that's one I think is important too to write down. The fourth house has to do with your home, your family. So as we're going through your chart here, you do have some planets and points, asteroids and symbols in here. The reason why I'm telling you the houses is because these are areas for you in your life that are, you're going to have energy to create it in the way that you want to see happen.
Mhm.
And it's just very empowering. So your 5th house is empty, which means that you may be very intuitive, very spiritual, but you may not necessarily follow any one particular thing. Pisces doesn't necessarily believe in any one thing. Pisces in the 5th house especially believes in all things and is capable of understanding all things. So would you say that aligns with you internally?
It do, man. That's why I laugh, because like, for example, my family, we grew up in Christian home, And then just over the years of me just living life, period, a lot of things just didn't align with me. And
Mm.
I didn't never understood why. And
Mm.
then I used to always just say to myself, like in my mind, to myself, like, it's got to be more to life than this. Like, I know I'm not here to like worship God that way, or does this exist or that exist. And to be honest with you, it kind of made me started staying to myself even more. And once I started doing that, it's like, it's crazy, but it's like I started manifesting my thoughts, meaning I started asking myself questions like um, about astrology, and I want to know more. And then next thing you know, I started just finding Bobby Hemmett and Brother C.L. Freeman, then you, then just different things of that nature. So yeah, it really resonates with me a lot. Like I said, that's why I laugh. So
Perfect. I'm glad, bro. So, all right, I'm probably gonna grab this cat in a second. He wants to play with something. Okay, so the next piece that's important here is, and I'm really glad you said all of that, because Scorpio and Pisces are quite spiritual people. That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. When they say, a lot of other people will call it manipulative. You can manipulate for good or for bad, right? Most people are good. Most people are hoping to do something good in the world. And the people who are bad, they reveal themselves naturally. So when we look at your intuition, your spiritual path, you being more in tune with yourself and what you feel is, in alignment, you're seeking truth. And that's something that Pisces and Scorpios do very well. And that's why people call them manipulative, because sometimes they'll do anything to get the truth, even, let go of themselves or let go of others, whatever is really manageable. So when we look at your chart, you have a day chart. The difference between a day chart and a night chart, a day chart person is going to be they're going to be more focused on the world. Even if you're an introvert, they're going to be more likely to serve and work with the world. A night chart person could be very extroverted, but they need a lot of time to recharge, just like the opposite of an introverted person. So you can be both at the same time. It's really about how you want to apply this for yourself in your own life. But you are a day chart person, so you are someone who is likely for the world. Now I'm gonna run through quick a few of the times here.
okay.
Happy all right. You're born on a Saturday. I don't know if you know this, but Saturdays are a good day to do, it's your planetary day. Saturday is Saturn's day. So you may want to do like whatever super hard work you don't want to like do that day on that day. 5:15 p.m. All right, so I'm just gonna go every 10 minutes. Yeah, that'll work. And then what we're doing here is just looking at 5:15 through 6:15, what the real difference is here. And as you can see, nothing's really changing. Some of the degrees are barely moving. The planets don't move that fast by the minute. The moon does, and the moon is the thing that we're looking to settle for you next. All right, now that we've gone to 7:15, nothing really changes. So I would definitely say you are a Scorpio rising. The next piece is we want to get, since you have a date chart, we want to look at your Jupiter is what this represents, and your Venus. So your Jupiter, based on this chart here that we are rectifying, your Jupiter is going to be here in Virgo. So I would write down for your Scorpio rising again. Your Scorpio rising is what makes you very intuitive, and I'll be right back, but it's what makes you intuitive and creative. The other thing about Scorpio too is Scorpios are very consistent with things that they enjoy, things that they care about. So that would be something to just know about yourself. Even if you don't feel like you're consistent, sometimes you are to other people. And just know that the more you focus your energy on doing things consistently or being consistent, this will naturally, you'll just get more powerful as a person. So that's Scorpio, is creativity, spiritual, intuitive, consistent. Those are the biggest things that, you know, that you should look for in yourself. And also it's Scorpio season. So this is something that's highlighted for you as well. Your Jupiter here is in Virgo. The zodiac sign Virgo represents the servant. And when you have Jupiter anywhere, Jupiter represents knowledge, and it also represents your growth, how you expand. If Jupiter is in a certain space, it can also show things like your waistline and like your eating habits, how you indulge in things as well. So when it's in Virgo, it would do, Virgo is very focused, like I said before, on being the servant. It would do you a lot of fun and good to focus a lot on manifesting. Manifesting, when I say manifesting, I mean making plans. You probably already do this, but making more plans, having lots of lists around you, lots of journals, and spaces where you can write down pieces of your mind to compartmentalize. Virgo likes to organize. And when your Jupiter's in Virgo like this is going to definitely play a huge role in your relationships. So what I like to recommend, and what I even do myself, is I'll write down the type of, for example, if I want to date a certain type of person, I will write down how she moves, what she does, her relationship with her mom, how she is creatively, what she does for her own spiritual self. Because if I don't, I won't have an idea of who I actually want. And organizing that type of thing puts you, or anyone really, in a position to create it, that scenario. And again, Jupiter has to do with the things that are abundant in your life. So you can do this with money. You can do this with your health. Virgo definitely does rule the health. So I would be mindful of you probably already do this, but just the things that you study. You should also study food. Study the food that you eat, the food that other people eat, what it does to their body. If you want that result, this would be a great placement to even, you could sell these kinds of products as well at some point if you ever wanted to. And another version of that could even look like just sharing with people what you do with your own body, with your own health, whatever that looks like for you. And people naturally pick up on it and want to be involved with it for you. That's based off of your Jupiter, which again represents your wealth, represents your knowledge, as well as your abundance. Next is So that's your most positive planet in your chart. The most negative planet in your chart is going to be your Mars. And this isn't a bad thing. It's just about how you want to use it. So your Mars is in Aries. And this would make you a very goal-oriented person. You may get bored quickly, or you might be sometimes overwhelming on yourself or other people when it comes to accomplishing certain things in your life. And that's not a good or a bad thing until we, look at how to use it. Would you say that that's true?
That is true. Like everything you said was true about Jupiter and and Mars. Like that's on point, especially about what you not backtracking, but what really hit me just now when you was talking about Virgo, about being creative, is about knowledge and eating habits and abundance and relationship and manifesting. And just real quick, my old lady is a Virgo, and it's like we attract so much. Our minds are so much alike, but she's like super organized and like she's been on a spiritual path before I met her, and I just found her. And then it's like I met somebody who think just like me, who's weird like me. I found somebody just like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Incredible. That's amazing. Yeah, as a Virgo, so this is what happens is if someone's sun sign, so sun sign being her Virgo, is over your Jupiter, in synastry, that's something we call Sun conjunct Jupiter. Conjunct just means they're in the same house. The house, again, is just this box, or this square looking shape, pie looking shape. So yeah, her ego, her energy, her like personality, who she is over your knowledge, your wisdom, your abundance. So that's a great relationship dynamic to have as with those two. So let's get back to your Mars real quick.
Okay.
So whenever I see Mars in Aries, I highly, highly recommend, and just anyone who has a cardinal placement, which you do, you're a very good leader. You're naturally a very good leader. The thing that for you, because Aries is a fire sign, this is what I would write down for you, is Aries is a fire sign and it's a very good leader. You would do best to encourage and inspire other people. For if you decide to start a business, that's going to be your brand. So if you're selling socks, for example, not to say that you would, but if you do a sock company, don't sell the socks, sell this sock is going to inspire you. This is going to encourage you to walk, to wear nice shoes. You know are you understand what I'm meaning?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Perfect. A lot of people, the reason why I say this is because Mars has to do with branding. At least in my head, because Mars represents our willpower, our strength. And I feel like a lot of people, once they know your strength, they're more likely to trust you. So when you're creating anything, you want to encourage and inspire people. If you feel if people say you're aggressive or you're a pioneer or anything, ignore them. Just focus on, as long as I'm inspiring myself and other people and I'm encouraging them as well, perfect. What that looks like is going to look like you. And that's going to help you navigate your weakness, because this is technically a weakness because it's sometimes seen as very aggressive, but you can soften it when you do it for other people.
Okay.
And that will make it so that people will favor you also, because they'll say this person's a champion, not just for themselves, but for us, which is amazing. Cool. So you do have your moon is in the second house, which has to do with your finances, money, and possessions, which means a lot of your connections with women, with your mom, with your feminine side, with your intuition, with your the way that you process your emotions has to do with finances, money, possessions. The best way to deal with this, again, is to make plans about, what you want to make monthly, weekly, hourly. I don't actually suggest hourly. If you can get down to the minute, planning these things out will help you put your feelings into your finances, money, possessions, because that's where your emotional self is anyways. So, and the best way to deal with that, also another way, is spending a lot of money on yourself, on your body, on the things that you care about, which you likely already do, but just know that that's really okay and that's encouraged, just because you have this placement. You also have so your sun is in the 8th house. In this part, this does have to do with death, other people's stuff, shared resources. This is important because it'll help you understand that death is going to be a significant part in your life. Would you say that's true?
Yes, especially recently. Especially recently. Oh, I had 2 aunts died and like 3 or 4 different cousins, and 2 of my friends got killed, and one just got killed last week.
Wow.
So yeah, and all this just been happening like in the last 2 months. In the last 2 to 3 months. So you dead on the spot. Like you dead on the spot.
Thank you for sharing that, bro. So this is gonna be a lot of, I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a lot of your life, but it's gonna show itself, it's gonna show up a lot often. And there's no real reason for this. It really has to do with transforming, I would say, at the end of the day. How are you processing these people in your life souls, the soul energy that they share with you? How are you sharing that back out into the world? Because at times when we're grieving, it can be a challenge to release some of the emotions. So a suggestion that I've seen from other astrologers as well is, sharing people's lives with other people that are still alive is going to be the way to transmute this energy. Do things in memory of the people that you care about, that are, that you have shared memories with. That's going to be a great way for you to express it, in the positive sense. And also to be aware of your grieving process. So these are
That
just
makes
some of the
sense.
topics. What was that?
No, I was saying that make a lot of sense is what you're saying, Long. My girlfriend was telling me the same thing because the way I grieve is probably different than, well, most people probably grieve like I do. I hold it in. Like I don't, and I guess when my aunt died and I was going to Walmart and holding that in, other stuff in by we leaving Walmart, I thought I was like having COVID. And then when I went, getting in the ambulance, going to the hospital, they was telling me I was having a panic attack. And I didn't even know, from all the stress levels and the cortisol my brain was releasing. But I felt normal because I normally hold stuff in anyway. You see what I'm saying? So
Right. Yeah. So the two things for you, you have Mars, like I said, you have Mars in Aries here. Yours is in the 6th house. The 6th house has to do with illness, health, and work. So you put your you put your power into if you're sick, it's because the warrior naturally inside of you, something's going on, and it will affect your health and your work. So whenever I see Aries Mars, this zodiac placement does so well if they exercise every day. Something every day, because you have so many emotions, and you have so many, like the way that you feel things is very direct. So one of the ways to manage it is to use your body as your punching bag, but for good reasons. So I also have a cardinal sign Mars like you. And I notice the more time I put into doing things that I don't like doing with my body, jumping rope, walking, doing some push-ups, doing some calisthenics, body weight stuff. You don't have to go to the gym, but just even 10-minute workouts on YouTube do a world of damage for how you process things. Because while you're doing them, you may not like what you're doing, but you're so focused in on becoming better that those feelings that you are holding in, they'll naturally go somewhere. And it'll go from your body into, oh, you know what? I actually, I need to cry, or I need to, write this out, or I need to listen to a song, or I need to sleep, or I need to take a bath. Like it'll just force you into the next thing.
Okay.
So these are some of the things that are showing up. We've identified the house and the positive and negative planets. We've determined, what seems best. Now, the next thing really has to do with looking, you don't have Jupiter in the 7th, you have it in your, yeah, you have it all the way in your 11th house.
11th house.
Okay, so next we're gonna look at the chart ruler for you. So the planet that rules your chart is Pluto. Scorpio, the zodiac sign, is ruled by the planet Pluto. Pluto in astrology represents death, transformation, and wealth. So based on that, Pluto's right here for you. It's in your first house.
It's in my first house.
So your chart ruler is in your first house. This makes you actually a very, very good person to influence people. On any capacity, you're what I would call a Plutonian, because Pluto is your chart ruler. Another Plutonian is Drake, for example. Drake will tell us, the positives and negatives, his friendships that are not friendships, his friendships that he will keep for life, his friends that have died, and his friends that he wishes will live forever. That's the kind of person Drake is, because he's a Plutonian. He's a Scorpio. You're a Scorpio rising with Pluto in the first, which really, even though you're a Gemini, makes you a Scorpio. Your ego and your energy is going to be of Gemini, though. All parts of your chart are important. It's just I want to break down these ones for you so that you can get a better grasp of you. So Pluto in the first house, something popped into my head. Figure out a way to do something maybe with life insurance. I'm not sure if you have a policy, if you've thought about it, if you already have maybe even worked in the life insurance or some kind of insurance industry where you can manage people's lives a little bit better, or your own or your family's, the people around you, because you have this theme of death, transformation, power, and wealth. You have a lot of need for security. So the more secure you feel, the more secure others around you feel, and then the more you feel secure again. Because now they trust in not just you, because they already do, but also the connection. And this is how we can start to build upon your community. This could be a way for you to serve your community down the line. You're probably already had feelings about this.
I do though.
So I would definitely act on it, especially during this full moon. This is triggering everything that we've talked about. I'm talking about these specific things because it's triggering these spaces for you. Your relationship's going to even get more spiritual, by the way, this full moon. I don't know if you're expecting or thinking of having child or traveling soon, but this would be in alignment with you. If you've been working to contact your ancestors, this would also be in alignment with you this full moon as well. There's so many ways to go about that.
I'm glad you said that, man, because that was one of my questions I was going to ask you. I promise you it was. Like it's crazy how I wish my girlfriend was here to hear this, because you is like basically you're telling my whole story. Like I'm serious. Like it's crazy. Like
That's what you paid for, my guy.
right. Your expertise, exactly.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you deeply. So, okay, we have looked at your relationship, 7th house. We looked at your career. We have not looked at your career, excuse me. You should do something artistic, something on camera. Leo rules Hollywood. People really appreciate the way you dress, the way you talk. You're very charismatic in work areas with Leo there. You also know how to experiment and take risks, but it's also a wound for you because you have Chiron. Write this down, please. Chiron is how you heal yourself and others. And yours is in Leo, which means for you, and I have the same placement. One of my things that I really, as a child, was wounded by was my creativity. I would draw art for people and give it to them in school when I was a little boy, and they didn't really care. They like wanted it, but they didn't like love it. So now that's why I make so many damn videos is because I do it for myself now, you know? So creating stuff for yourself so that you can share with others would help heal the little boy that is very creative, very artistic, that is still living inside of you. We want to express as much art as possible. You have a lot of fame degrees in your chart. Fame degrees are 5 degrees, 17 degrees, 29 degrees. So you have 29 here, 17, 17, 17. You have a very strong personality, which could allow you to be famous if that's something that you want. You don't have to be directly famous. You could even just put someone else on a pedestal, and that would be something that's in alignment. But I would highly recommend you do it for yourself, because then you can put more people on pedestals in regards to work.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you're saying that, will that be considered a skill set?
Promoting, 100%.
And the reason why I asked that, because like I always just like me and my girlfriend had this, we talk about a lot of things, but especially on this. And we talk about basically like things that we're good in. And I basically tell her, and I feel like I don't have nothing specifically I'm good in, meaning this. When I work a job, I do anything with my hands in particular, even if I never done it before, I get good at it when I do it. So it's like some people specifically can draw or do this or do that. I don't have or I don't feel like I do, and which I'm trying to tap into, or at least find within myself something that I'm actually good at, like a specific thing. When my mind works in so many different places, I could be doing this and think about this. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're a Gemini. That's how it works. A lot of people will say it's ADHD. It's not that I feel like it's hypersensitivity to your environment. So what I do is I try to eliminate as much clutter around me as possible. The reason why you're so gifted with doing hands-on work is because Gemini rules the lungs and the hands.
Okay.
So stuff like that's going to come very easily for you. I would say anything you chose to do as a little boy is what I would tap into. So the way I was able to get here, like 4 or 5 years ago, I really started to notice when I was a child, I would watch Michael Jackson on stage with his family dancing. And I was like, oh, I wish I could be an artist. I wish I could be on camera, you know, with people that I care about. And that's what's driving my passion to make videos. I do talk about astrology, I do make music, and I've been slowly creeping my music into my other stuff so that so I can, you know, get to my Michael Jackson for like dream, right? That I had when I was like 6, 7. So you want to go back to that space inside of yourself and say, who did I like, you know, who is that person for you? Who are those people for you? Those are the things that we want to reinvent, because that childhood trauma can be managed and you know, curated and turned into something good for you by childhood healing and honoring that part of yourself. You don't have to be good at it right now. You know a lot more and you have a lot more money, tools, resources, help than you probably did when you were younger to actually accomplish that thing. So, you know, I'm 28. I just started doing music a few years ago. I've had so many people tell me, hey, if it doesn't work by 30, I think you should let it go. And I'm like, Jay-Z started when he was 28, you know?
Look at it now.
Right. So don't allow yourself to forget this little boy that is you, in regards to your skills, your talents, the things that you want to pursue. Even if it doesn't have the immediate results right away, chipping at it for a few years. It usually takes 5 years to truly master something. And if you are quick to learn, less, right? So just body that shit, honestly. And make sure that you will start to believe in yourself more the more you do it. And then people will start to compliment you. Then you'll start to believe in yourself more. Then, you know, people will start to ask you to do it for them. Then you'll believe in yourself more. It's a process. And, you know, of course, there'll be haters. That's good. Those people are secretly helping you, you know, create the tension that you need to get what you want to get done for the world. So these other aspects here, we want to look at, or actually, no, this is an example. So I just want to make sure. Okay, cool. So again, your health and body, that's going to be the last topic. So Saturn for you is in Aquarius. For you, it's going to be around your skin. Your skin's going to be a big theme for you. Like I said before, because of your Mars placement, I would just recommend you somehow find a way to sweat every day. That'll help you emotionally, physically. Your skin is Aquarius rules the skin and the shins. So if you avoid it, the consequence could be your skin. If you're stressed out, you'll see it on your skin. You'll feel it in your ankles, likely. Saturn rules the ankles. It also rules the bones. So you'll feel it in your bones. I would recommend taking baths, hot and cold baths. Both of them are going to do you world changes in your body. And yes, it's just I'm starting to get into medical astrology because I can help people more directly. But yeah, baths and sweating, very important for you, for your success. And that's going to be in regards to your home. So yeah, working out at home, which we talked about a little bit earlier. So this is the final rectificated chart. I'm gonna send this to you.
Okay.
And we can even, because it didn't change, we'll just keep it within that gap. So what's your best email?
Irvin Legend 1992 at gmail.com.
I love it. ERVINLEGEND 1992 at Gmail.
Yep.
Bet. Perfect. I shot that over to you. You have it. I'm also gonna send you your progress chart. Your progress chart is important. It's you right now today. So you're still a Scorpio rising, but in the moment, you're actually a Cancer sun. So right now your intuition is a bit higher than these last few years. This sign changes every few years. Everything in your chart changes every few years. But I just want to give this to you since you are already on your journey. I do have a lot of free content too for you to read your progress chart. I'm going to be making more content on like YouTube and stuff. So you can read your progress chart so you can understand yourself energetically now, and so that you can make more informed decisions now.
Have you already started your YouTube?
Yeah. I've been chipping at it for years, but I just started actually posting consistently this year.
Okay. Because I remember you saying something about it before on Instagram, but I follow you on Instagram and TikTok, but I'm glad you said something about YouTube.
Yeah, I'll be on YouTube a lot more this year, next year.
Okay.
Because I feel like I can sit there and talk. TikTok, I feel like it's just for trends and stuff. It's good for getting attention, but I actually can help people, I feel, more on YouTube. And my music will do better on YouTube, I'm sure. So, but yeah, I sent this to you. I do offer coaching. If you're ever interested, I'm going to be announcing some of those. If you're interested, I do 30-day coaching, 60-day coaching on social media, lifestyle stuff, on astrology. I do study some other spiritual practices as well. If you ever want some guidance like that, definitely let me know.
Okay.
Since you've already booked a reading with me, I do give a percentage off on my other services. It's dependent on which services you're looking for, though. So, and I'll shoot this recording to you. I wanted to ask you, is it okay if I use this recording for teaching purposes?
Yes. Yes.
Cool. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you trusting me tons. I appreciate you sharing time with me. I would love a review if you have the time. That would be amazing. It helps me understand how to help you and other people better. So I would appreciate that. You can just shoot it to my email or in a DM, whatever works best for you. And I'll send this recording to you also when it uploads to the cloud. I'll get it to you. I'll probably send it to you over our DMs or your email.
I don't have nothing on the Cash App right now. But
Yeah.
when I get it sent, I'm gonna send you a tip, man, because honestly, I feel like what you charge for your class, I think it's you doing everybody a favor because the information that you're giving us is well off more than $111. So yeah, I
I
will
appreciate
send you
you.
a tip.
Thank you, man. Gratitude. Appreciate that. That's a huge compliment. I really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I'll be in contact with you definitely. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions. After you've processed this, and then if you want, watch this with your girlfriend at the end or whenever if you want to. And then, yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace, brother.
Peace, bro.